And the Falcons begin the Michael Penix era with a bang, 34-7 win over the New York Giants. So I want to talk about Penix's real debut, we'll call it, his first NFL start, what we saw, what the takeaways were, the overall impression, and then I want to look at the updated playoff picture because for a while there, things were going in Atlanta's favor, but unfortunately, a Washington Commanders last-second touchdown does throw a little wrinkle into things. But let's talk about what we saw from the 8th overall draft pick, Michael Penix. 18 for 27, 202 yards, one interception that really wasn't on him in terms of it being a bad pass. Kyle Pitts should have caught it, and then it wouldn't have been a pick. I do criticize the decision to throw it inbounds with no timeouts left and under 15 seconds to just improve the kicking range by 3 or 4 yards. They would have had first and goal if Pitts caught it. They'd be rushing up to the line to spike it for, 1 or 2 seconds left just to kick a field goal all over. That ball should have gone into the end zone. Atlanta did leave 3 points on the board, but thankfully when you're playing the New York Giants, you can leave like 15 points on the board and you'll still be in good shape. But overall, put that, rookie mistake aside, and I think Penix had a really strong outing. I think he had a lot of velocity on his passes, something we hadn't really seen from Kirk Cousins much. There was accuracy. Overall, I was encouraged by what I saw. It's his first NFL start. We should definitely not make too big of a deal out of it, whether it was super good or super bad. In this case, I think it was a pretty average NFL outing for a rookie in his first game. So I was encouraged by what I saw. If you didn't see the game and you want to sound smart in front of your friends, just say Penix's ball had a lot of zip on it. It was live. The receivers were turning upfield. The offense as a whole looked better. So for me, I would grade Michael Penix's debut, we'll call it, a B+. Like, I thought there was some really good things. The thing that's holding me back from it being an A is at the end of that first half, just if it's not there, throw the ball outside the back of the end zone and take the field goal. Sure, even if Pitts catches the football and there's no interception, you are doing a scramble drill to spike the ball with a few seconds left to make it a 3 or 4 yard closer kick. That to me just doesn't seem like a good reward based on the risk. So those are my thoughts on Michael Penix's debut. We'll have a lot more football to watch over the next 2 weeks out of him, but overall, like I said, encouraging stuff from 9. Now let's look at the playoff picture. We're in the midst of the late afternoon game, so things are going to change as the Vikings are playing the Seahawks right now and whatnot. But Atlanta at 8-7 awaits the Buccaneers-Cowboys game on Sunday Night Football. Dallas, by the way, got eliminated from playoff contention, so they are here to play spoiler. If the Buccaneers lose in Arlington tonight, both teams are 8-7. The Falcons have the head-to-head tiebreaker, so they would be in the driver's seat for the NFC South, and they would then control their own destiny. It's pretty straightforward for Atlanta. Win the next 2 games against the Commanders on Sunday Night Football next week, who we'll talk about in a second, and then at home against the Carolina Panthers, and just pray to whatever God you believe in that the Buccaneers lose one of their last 3 games. The Cowboys tonight on the road, and then they end the year with back-to-back division games against the Panthers and the Saints. And the Panthers, by the way, just beat the Arizona Cardinals in overtime. They have been playing good football as of late, and they are rewarded with a win after being in a lot of close games for the most part. So that won't be an easy game for either Tampa or Atlanta, who closes the season out against Bryce Young and the Panthers. But as for the Commanders and the wild card path, the Commanders had an epic comeback against the Eagles. Jalen Hurts got injured. Kenny Pickett came in, did enough. He had a third down pass that would have essentially sealed the game, dropped by Devontae Smith. Jaden Daniels marches down the field and puts up the game-winning touchdown with under 10 seconds remaining. That puts the Commanders now at 10-5. So if you peek at the playoff picture one more time, this is where things get a little bit dicey for Atlanta. That path for maybe a wild card spot really starts to go downhill because Sunday Night Football next week would have been very interesting if the Commanders lost and they were 9-6. However, at 10-5, they lose the next 2 games. I think this one actually clinched a playoff spot for them. Don't quote me just yet. There's a lot of things up in the air here, but overall, the wild card path just got a whole lot more difficult. with the Commanders winning. So now it's all eyes on the Buccaneers and praying that they lose one game and Michael Penix is perfect in the final 3 games of the season. So there's our Michael Penix update and our playoff picture update. Up next, I want to talk about maybe the real star of the show, the defense. I mean, for another game, the defense has been balling out. So we're going to talk all about that in just a moment here. But I do want to give a quick special shout out to our friends over at Game Time. If you want to go catch a Falcons game or a Hawks game or any other sporting event in your area, download the Game Time app today and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time has so many cool features like Game Time Picks, which basically filters out the fluff so you only see incredible deals on great seats. That way you're not spending 30, 60 minutes searching through thousands of tickets. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Let's give some airtime to Atlanta's defense because over the last 3 weeks coming into Sunday, they had sacked the quarterback 13 times in 3 games. Keep in mind, in the first 11 games, they had sacked the quarterback 10 times. And today, it was all about takeaways. You're playing Drew Lock, it's going to be teed up for you. And we got not 1, but 2 pick sixes. The Jesse Bates pick six, by the way, I wish I could show the film, but copyright laws. It was such a fun pick six because that play right there is something that kind of goes under the radar, but it's what makes Bates such a special safety. So if you missed the play, Drew Lock puts a man in motion, and the guy goes across the field, and Bates follows. So Drew thinks, I've got man-to-man right there, right? That's why you put a man in motion more often than not to see if the defense will show their hand if they're in man or zone. So Lock thinks they're in man-to-man because there goes the shadow, Bates. However, they're not in man-to-man. It's just a decoy. And Bates is going to sit in a zone, and when Lock sees, oh, I've got plenty of space over here, I'm going to zip this ball in, he is unfortunately disturbed by a pick six by Jesse Bates. And then we had Matthew Judon on the receiving end of a deflected pass, and he walked it into the end zone. Atlanta's offense was carrying this team for a good stretch this year. Then as the offense, it was kind of like the Ninja Turtle memes, right? Where it's like the turtle carrying all the young ones, and then when they all grow up, they're carrying the old turtle. It like switched from like Kirk Cousins dragging a defense with no pass rush to a defense with a great pass rush now, dragging old Kirk Cousins. But now it's Michael Penix, so I've kind of lost my meme train here. But overall, really good stuff by this defense for another straight game. And if they can get just a little bit of help from the Cowboys, Panthers, or the Saints, and they just, which is not going to be easy, go into the Commander Stadium and knock them off on Sunday Night Football on the road after an emphatic win against the Eagles, and then beat the Panthers at home. Atlanta is hosting a playoff game. Michael Penix, as a rookie, is hosting a playoff game, and vibes are high, and all of the misery over that 4-game losing streak, I'll basically call it a 5-game losing streak, we'll include the Raiders game because no one celebrated that win, is completely washed away. So that's our post-game video for today. Overarching thoughts, Michael Penix looked good. I mean, that's a short and sweet way of putting it, but he did. Like, he had some good touch. He had some good, pop to his passes when finding Drake London and Darnell Mooney over the middle of the field. The interception was a poor decision, in my opinion. Yes, Pitts should catch the football. I completely agree. But if he does catch the football, what do you gain? Like 4 yards, so you could just run up to the line and spike it so you can kick it from the 2-yard line with 1 second left? Is that really worth the risk of the clock running out? No. Throw it out of bounds. There's 3rd down. Kick it on 4th down. So that's a learning lesson, but it was a very cheap lesson because you got to play the New York Giants. So that's a good day to learn that lesson. Don't learn that lesson next week in Landover, Maryland against the Commanders. Before we get on out of here, I do want to show some love to the Dirty Birds Club, and especially Jeebus H. Christ for coming through big time during our watch party today. For everyone that watched our watch party, by the way, I really appreciate kind of your patience and understanding for the uniqueness of it. I really wanted to do a watch party for Michael Penix's first start, so even though it was a simulcast, which is not what we traditionally do here, I thought it was better than nothing. So hopefully you enjoyed it and agree, and I'll see all of you guys tomorrow morning.